What's up, guys? I'm here bringing you another Kanto Cup video. This one is a team that has taken me to 49th on the leaderboard, on the global leaderboard, and it features Shadow Victreebel. So a lot of you guys have been requesting a Shadow Victreebel team. Don't worry, I had one in the works. I had another one too as a lead, but didn't quite pan out due to me not wanting to spend too much Stardust due to the new changes. So we'll see how that goes. But I do want to thank my Patreon supporters once again before we get right into this video. And I'll explain a bit how the team works once again as we start looking through the video itself. So as you can see, I did try Alolan Marowak in the lead first. Didn't really work. For me, I was getting destroyed by Pidgeots was the main reason. So I swapped it up to Alolan Golem, who, as you know from my previous video, is actually a very good Pokemon, and we're going to see this Alolan Marowak in the lead. The way this team functions is Alolan Golem is your lead. The idea behind this over Graveler was that you could kind of abuse the Volt Switch a little bit more, like Volt Switch and then clear the debuff if you're the lead. But what ended up happening anyways is if the lead wasn't favorable, I wanted to switch out right away. So the plan didn't really work out like I thought it would. So Alolan Graveler probably would work as the lead as well. But the goal is to switch into Beedrill if it's a lead that Alolan Golem can't really deal with, unless it's also a lead that Shadow Victreebel isn't the greatest against. So like if it's a Shadow Victreebel lead, for example, I would swap into the Victreebel instead of the Beedrill. So in this first case, we have Alolan Marowak versus Alolan Golem. I didn't know this pure lead matchup too well, and they actually get switch advantage here, which is a bit unfortunate because I let them get an extra fire spin through. If I had been timing my moves and forcing CMP ties, I would have won that. But they're going to bring Shadow Machamp into my Beedrill, and at this point, I know I've probably won the game already because Shadow Machamp is not very good into Beedrill, especially when Beedrill has a 1 poison jab advantage. Shadow Machamp just goes straight down. Wigglytuff now comes out, and I know the game is over already because I have Shadow Victreebel in the back, who beats Wigglytuff in the zero shield anyways. But I decided to throw that drill run first just to kind of ensure it, just in case there's some sort of weird IV stuff going about. So pretty lucky that their backline was weak to it, but that's what happens when both your leads stay in and both of you are playing kind of double weakness comps. So you see a Dewgong lead. Versus Dewgong lead, I would have planned to stay in and take an Icy Wind and then switch out. But they swap out instead, which is fine because Victreebel is very good against it too. And luckily, they swap into Hypno. So the goal is to never have Shadow Victreebel against Hypno. Beedrill into Hypno is fine. Shadow Victreebel into Hypno is not as fine, unless shields are down. And you have an energy advantage. So a lot of conditions. But in this case, I throw a Wild Charge early in hopes that they don't shield. And then I swap out into Beedrill. I know I can take the charge moves. It's the confusions that really hurt. But I'm able to get some energy and take it down. And I know they're going to come in with the Dewgong. I go for the bait on X-Scissor here because I know people like to generally shield before Icy Wind, but this guy does not shield, which is fine. I'm just trying to get as much damage as possible, and I think this ended up working out because I think 2 X-Scissors is more damage than a drill run. But they are going to try or think about farming me all the way down. The thing is, I would have got to another X-Scissor, they would have had to shield. So they throw their Icy Wind, and now I can come out with Golem, and they bring out Machamp, and I know I have to spend my shield here, and as long as this Dewgong doesn't have enough energy for an Icy Wind, this game is over. So yeah, we're going to take down this Machamp, and Dewgong will come back in, and we will see exactly how much energy they have. So not enough. Might have been a closer game, but Golem can deal with Dewgong as well, even at that low HP. Ice is super effective against ground, not rock. So, this next game, we're going to see a Charizard. I think this might have been the first Charizard I've seen, or second. And in this case, I swap out right to Shadow Victreebel. What I really should have done was thrown a Wild Charge and then swap. But Shadow Victreebel beats Alolan Muk in the 2 shield. And I know I'm going to have to 2 shield here because I need switch advantage. Beedrill can absolutely not go against Charizard, but instead they actually let the Leaf Blade through, so I only have to shield once. They do this because Shadow Victreebel Unfortunately, gets stomped by Charizard. Charizard can farm all the way down, as it 4 times resists grass. It can even let the Leaf Blade through, but now it's kind of a bit dangerously low here. I'm going to get the Volt Switch through, and I kind of realized I can tank a Dragon Claw or a Blast Burn because Blast Burn is resisted. And they come in with Shadow Golbat, so double flyer here. They swapped in their only counter to Alolan Golem there, and it wasn't even that much of a counter. So this team just has some issues with Alolan Golem in the first place. So once Victreebel was able to take out Muk, it was an easy game. Actually, this was a huge misplay. In hindsight, I really should have swapped in Beedrill. Beedrill is a huge Muk counter. This was my first set playing the team, so I was still trying to get a little bit used to everything. But Beedrill is able to come out and do its little job, taking out Charizard at the end there with a couple of poison jabs. Charizard needs to get to a Blast Burn for sure versus the Beedrill, and probably enough energy to take down Alolan Golem. Next battle versus the 6'4 Ninja. Very good battler, and he's got a Dragonair at the beginning. It's the first time I saw the Dragonair, so or against the Slime, so I was really unsure what to do. I swap in Beedrill, hoping that he doesn't switch out, because most people expect that I'm swapping in my second best counter. So if they know if they can beat it, they'll stay in. Beedrill is actually a lot of really good neutral matchups, and it doesn't even do too poorly against Hypno. So we're going to see that I'm going to try and get the X-Scissor off here. And the problem is I know he's charging up a ton. So even if I shield this, he'll probably have another move. Or no, I think it'll be close. But I decided not to shield there and go back in with my Alolan Golem. I don't know what he has in the back, so I don't know how badly I need switch advantage. So I'd rather keep a shield for Shadow Victreebel. And this is a Hex Alolan Marowak. So not great for Alolan Golem. This is much better versus Alolan Golem than non-Hex Marowak. But I do need to get as much damage off as I can. And I charge up a little bit extra. I'm going to go for the Wild Charge. I'm not 100% sure this does more damage, but I feel like it does more damage. And I'm going to swap and get that Marowak out of the way before he can really get any extra damage done. And unfortunately, the last Pokemon is an Alolan Sandslash, so this thing absolutely destroys Shadow Victreebel. So I'm going to get farmed down a little bit here. I need him to throw energy, otherwise there's no way Alolan Golem can deal with it. It runs Bulldoze, so a 4-time super effective move against a Pokemon that's not that tanky. And I just really hope that he is not out of Bulldoze here, and it is just going to be an Ice Punch, and Alolan Golem is going to live and finish Sandshrew off with that last Volt Switch. So very close and fun game, exciting game there. And then I queued into Nick as well, and they were actually streaming together, and I didn't know this. So back-to-back games, we're going to see Hypno lead, and this is absolutely a lead I need to deal with Alolan Golem. So I let that through because I think it's just I know it's just a Thunder Punch. Shadow Ball or Psychic hurts a lot more, so if they go to 5, then 5 Confusions, then you do want to shield. I'm going to get the shields with Rock Blast here, and then I'm going to go for the Wild Charge and really hope they don't shield. I'm getting very low here, but they do shield as well. Luckily, they're locked into a move, but I do end up shielding my Golem because I really want to get to that Rock Blast. If I didn't get to this Rock Blast, I don't think I would be able to switch into Pokemon to finish off Hypno here. So I'm going to go into Victreebel, and they swap right away. So this actually kind of saves me a bit. As with Hypno at that much health, I would take a ton of damage from Confusions and probably have to blow a shield anyways on Shadow Victreebel. But now I've charged up a ton of energy. I have to think about what's coming back in, and if it's Hypno, I'm going to throw 1 Razor Leaf and then Leaf Blade. So the Confusion damage won't even hit me as long as I KO here. And then I need to be able to take out whatever Pokemon is in the back. Luckily, I have Beedrill for this. What I really should have done here is swap out right away. I wasn't really thinking. I think about that while I'm throwing the move. I'm like, wait, why don't I swap? Drill run pretty much one-shots anyways. And I just have to race to this. Actually, I might be able to X-Scissor here. Yeah, I'm just going to go for the X-Scissor. I don't remember how much energy this Muk had, and I don't want him to get to 2 Dark Pulses and essentially lose the game here. So once I get that X-Scissor off, I know that even if he KOs the Beedrill, my Victreebel can come back in and win that matchup. So no need to risk it with the drill run. So you see, first ever with this team was a 5-0. Not a lot of good leads there too, right? Like if you think about it, we had a Charizard was a good lead, but we had a Hypno lead. We had a Dragonair lead to close off that set. And Alolan Marowak's good too. Sorry, I'm just so used to playing Victreebel in the lead. I'm like, all these leads are bad, but they're actually good. So yeah, it was about half good leads, half bad leads, but we still end up with a 5-0. And I think at this point, if the rating wasn't hidden, I would have just squeaked onto the leaderboards after that 5-0. Yeah, we're going to see another Alolan Marowak lead. These are very common. And I've changed the way I like to play these, so I'm playing it here like I would now. I throw on the third Volt switch to try and force the CMP tie with them, because I don't want them getting any fire spins through. And then after this, if you don't let them get any fire spins through, you slightly outpace them. So I'm going to throw 3 again. Unfortunately, he does beat me to this one. But now I have a little bit of an energy advantage. The problem is they sometimes swap out like this, and this is really bad. So you do have to bank your energy, though, because you do need to beat that Alolan Marowak. But with this Electrode, I go into Victreebel because I know that Grass resists Electric and I can tank a foul play. So Electrode isn't too much of a threat. Alolan Marowak's going to come back in and either eat a ton of damage from Shadow Victreebel and Leaf Blade, which he elects to. And I've got charge moves saved up on Golem that I can throw if I do want to take him down like that. But I'm going to go in with Beedrill instead. And because I know that the Bone Club won't hurt too much. So at this point, I'm feeling pretty comfortable about this game. They've got a Dewgong, and I have a Wild Charge, almost 2 Wild Charges loaded on Alolan Golem, and I've already forced a shield. So at this point, it's pretty much over. I think Alolan Golem beats Dewgong and CMP as well, just not as tanky. And this Dewgong would have needed to also be at a Water Pulse. And then I don't even know if it KOs. So another pretty good win there. It might have been surprising to swap Beedrill into Alolan Marowak. I feel like they were at a move already, but they were just confused as to what to do, like if they should throw a Shadow Bone or just go for the Bone Club. I think they tried to go for the Shadow Bone. So Pidgeot lead. This is the reason I swapped out of Alolan Marowak in the first place. The bird is everywhere now. At least around my rating, and they're going to swap into Shadow Machamp. I swap a bit slow, so that means I'm going to have to shield here, which is super unfortunate because then the Pidgeot will be able to farm me down. But at the same time, I do need to shield because if I lose switch advantage, Beedrill ends up versus Pidgeot. In hindsight here, I probably should have charged up a little bit more. There's a chance you can get to Sludge Bomb. I've since been able to Sludge Bomb 2 Pidgeots and win those games. One against Though Tactical. Very good battler. But yeah, no one shields the Sludge Bomb on Pidgeot. So I can tank the Brave Bird. It's double resisted, but look how much damage it still does. And Alolan Muk comes in. So I'm going to throw my energy here just because the switch timer is not quite up yet. Although after I got that shield, I probably should have just swapped because Beedrill can KO at this range anyways. But I actually get both shields, so lucky enough for me. I'll shield anyways just to be safe, but this game is essentially over. I don't think a lot of people are accounting for Beedrill on their teams. There are some teams where Beedrill just completely ran them through by himself. There's just no Beedrill counter or check. It's just not a Pokemon you see very often in Kanto Cup, and I think it's mainly because of Hypno and Alolan Marowak kind of scaring Beedrill away. Same with Shadow Victreebel. 2 of the most common Pokemon are not just like slight counters, but pretty strong counters. But in this case, we're going to see a Shadow Victreebel lead. I'm going to mess up and miss the button and then swap into Shadow Victreebel. So we're going to see in this case, I actually get to a Leaf Blade, and we'll see who wins the 0 shield versus Hypno and Shadow Victreebel. Guess what? It's a tie. So that just shows you how powerful Shadow Victreebel is. We've eliminated the Hypno for Beedrill. I've seen their first Pokemon. They're probably going to come in with it. So I swap into the Beedrill. And this is an absolutely dominating matchup. I don't have to shield anything. Grass is double resisted by Beedrill. I'm honestly surprised they're not switching out already. But that's okay. I've got a ton of energy going into this matchup, and it's Alolan Muk, so that's why they're not switching. But I've got to these 2 drill runs. I'm not sure if I'll be able to get to any other moves, so I'd like to be able to swap out. And now I just have I have 2 shields and a little bit of energy. As long as I can get a couple wild charges off here, that's game over. So they save me the time and just leave. But yeah, so that was a bit lucky that they didn't shield there. Although I think Beedrill would have still been able to clean up regardless. And actually would have cleaned up easier if they had spent the shield. So Alolan Muk, this is where I was testing my theory. The first time I was able to wild charge and swap out. But the problem is they stayed in. And they took it. So there's no point bringing Beedrill in against that. Because Drill Run is going to essentially one-shot anyways. So I bring in Shadow Victreebel instead, and they just leave. So I really do wonder what they had in the back. But it must have been like a double weakness team where Alolan Muk is the grass counter, and they might have been running like Blastoise or something like that in the back. But we're going to see another Hypno lead here. Hypno versus Alolan Golem. Not a great matchup, but one that does need to happen. Okay. And they swap into Snorlax, so I'm going to swap almost right away too. I'm a bit slow, unfortunately, which means I'm going to have to spend shields on this. This was my first match versus Snorlax and Shadow Victreebel, but I have since learned that you don't need to shield both body slimes. You only need to shield one of them, at least with my Victreebel's IVs. So now I'm down 2 shields, which is not a great situation. And I let the Hypno get confusion off. I really should have thrown 1 Razor Leaf and then thrown that Leaf Blade, because I might have actually been able to get to that next move. Now I'm going to bring in Alolan Golem. I need to take down this Hypno pretty badly. And I go for the bait and fail. And he Shadow Balls me. And this game is extremely hard. Yeah. This is going to be a loss. If I'd gone for the Wild Charge instead, it would have been definitely more doable. But he called the bait, so well played to the other trainer there. And I think this was going to be my only loss on the day. I ended up going 14 out of 15. This is the 4 set in the middle. But yeah, this team was successful. I feel like it's kind of ironic. The other 2 teams I had just on a win-loss ratio, I did much better with on the days. But this is the one that brought me onto the leaderboard. So I had my worst day and jumped from not on the leaderboard to 49th. So we're going to see another Victreebel lead. I'm going to swap right out to Alolan Muk. And this is a great situation. I know I just need to win switch advantage, and I can line up my Beedrill versus their Shadow Victreebel. So I will spend every single shield I possibly can in this situation. I don't even care what other Pokemon is in the back. I just need to line up Beedrill versus Shadow Victreebel. And it's actually pretty close, this match. I think it's IV dependent and like lag dependent, or getting fast moves through, because 1, 2, 3, and he finishes 4 Snarl right there. That's another Dark Pulse that would have KO'd, but I'm gonna beat him there. Unfortunately, I'm not very smart. I was 1 away from the Sludge Bomb. I could have easily just thrown that instead, because I'm not going to quite get to that second Leaf Blade, but it doesn't matter because I have a Beedrill anyways. And yeah, I probably shouldn't have swapped out there with Beedrill. I'm pretty sure Beedrill beats Alolan Raticate, or at least charged up a little more, thrown an X Scissor, and then swapped out and tanked the Crunch. But Alolan Golem does fine too. Alolan Raticate is really just isn't very strong. It's really just good at countering what it counters. So like Hypno and stuff like that. Hypno and AWAC. It's not a very like strong Pokemon. It doesn't have really good moves or anything. It's okay. So when it's in a neutral matchup versus something like Alolan Golem or Beedrill, it's not going to have a good time, and it obviously doesn't have a good time versus Shadow Victreebel either. So we're gonna see a Marowak lead here. Another one. Let's see if I do the same play. Yep. I throw 3, CMP tie, hopefully, so nobody gets their moves through, or maybe they didn't, and then they're going to try and throw Bone Club, and I'll get it through, but not in this case. You actually are allowed to let 1 through, or 1 Bone Club through, if they're running Fire Spin. But I'm just going to match shields with them. And they swap out again. A lot of people do this, and this is a Shadow Snorlax. So the problem here is this is a Shadow Snorlax, and I don't have any shields. Last time this Marowak swapped out before using the other shield. So I'm going to try and take down the Shadow Snorlax, but it's not going to go too well. And I have to go into Beedrill. If I go into Alolan Golem, I am going to get super powered and the game will be over. So this is at least going to give me a chance. I'm going to have enough energy for a drill run now. And Alolan Marowak comes in. I'm going to go for the bait because I think this is really my only play. So I'm going to get the bait successfully and swap out and get this wild charge off before they have enough energy to do anything. So a bit risky to use a wild charge there because I do think Rock Blast actually KOs, but I'm going to go for the wild charge here again. I've realized this Muk can't really snarl me down, so it's all like lowering the defense there doesn't really matter. Dark Pulse will already one-shot. So I'm just going to get to my charge moves and take down Muk. Beedrill, I think, would not have had enough energy or enough pace to get to the drill run. I would have had to settle for X-Scissor, so that's why I did really need to get that Alolan Muk very low with Golem. I'm going to see another lead. I'm going to try and play this the same way, but somehow they didn't press Bone Club, and they're going to get their fast move through, which is absolutely awful. But I also get a fast move through, kind of, because they didn't count properly. And they're Shadow Bone, so that means they're running Fire Blast probably. If they're going to be Shadow Boning me right now, because Bone Club does higher DPE versus Alolan Golem. And I throw a Wild Charge. I don't know why I throw it so early versus this Hypno. I really should have waited a little more. And I try to swap there. I'm going to swap into Victreebel. And if I had swapped on time, I wouldn't have needed to shield here at all. But unfortunately, I do. So now shields are down. They're going to bring in Alolan Marowak. And I'm going to get to Leaf Blade first to try to farm me down. And this is Shadow Victreebel taking down a Hypno and an Alolan Marowak, Poetic Justice. And there we go. There's the third Pokemon that beats Shadow Victreebel in the one shield. And this is actually going to be a pretty tough game. I'm going to go in with Alolan Golem, get a Wild Charge off here. The problem is I can't let it farm me down because if it has 2 Dark Pulses, it's going to beat Beedrill. So I throw my energy there. It really did have to throw Dark Pulse, but then it was going to lose to Beedrill in the back. But it didn't know how to Beedrill in the back, so I was a bit confused that it didn't try and just take out my Golem in the first place and try and win that matchup that way. that was my thought process in switching in the Golem first. So we're going to see Lapras here, and they swap out right away to Hypno, which is great. Hypno is people's safe swaps, so a lot of the time they're going to swap Hypno right into my Alolan Golem. And when they do swap it in, it's more likely that they'll shield as well, because then they're locked in and they think that I'm going to Wild Charge and swap out. So I'm going to try and get to back-to-back Wild Charges here. That's fine. I'll burn both shields. I know it's just Thunder Punches, but I'm really low. And I do need to get rid of this Hypno. This is of utmost importance. They're actually going to let it through. But I have a Wild Charge stored up for whatever it wants to come back in. And honestly, I probably shouldn't have thrown that, but that's okay. Nah, I had to go down anyway. So throwing these Wild Charges also allows this Muk to get less energy off of me with Snarls. And I'm going to come in with the Beedrill. I really have to be careful of him trying to catch a move here, or them trying to catch a move here on my Beedrill. Yep, see, look, they're counting moves. Very good player. Try to catch a move on Beedrill, and I need to swap into Victreebel here. They did a good job of not throwing Surf. I feel like they could have KO'd my Victreebel there, but they realized their only win condition is to farm me down with Alolan Muk. But Unfortunately for them, that's not what happens versus Shadow Victreebel, especially with shields down. You do need to throw a charge move at Shadow Victreebel, and Beedrill was at a draw run anyways, so I think that... actually, I don't know who wins CMP. I think Beedrill wins CMP, but it's very close. But when Beedrill comes back in, I would be able to throw that drill run anyways and win the game. So you see a Dragonite lead. This is actually not very good. No Pokemon on the team really does very good. Dragonite can force the win with 2 shields here, and they normally do. People love to protect their shadows in the lead. I'm going to have to shield 2, obviously. Just 1 Dragon Claw. But by them blowing 2 shields, they're going to have another Dragon Claw to go into the next matchup. And Shadow Victreebel can't really tank that or deal with it. So Beedrill will have to come in. This is the second Shadow Dragonite I've run into. Or sorry, this was the first, but I've since run into another one. I have to play the same, or I didn't play the same way. I let the Dragon Claw through because it doesn't actually deal that much damage. And this is a Hex Marowak, so this is fantastic for Beedrill. If this was a Fire Spin Marowak, I'd be in some severe issues, but instead it is not. Even a Shadow Bone here doesn't KO. Beedrill is... Oh, okay, a Shadow Ball does, though. Yeah, Beedrill is decently tanky, but not tanky enough to deal with a Shadow Ball. So I can bring in Shadow Victreebel here because they did use a ton of energy for their Shadow Ball. I think they're right at the Shadow Ball there, too. And then Lapras versus Shadow Victreebel is something that Shadow Victreebel really does like when shields are down, and you can get up to a Leaf Blade. So we're going to have another pretty... Oh, yeah, the Dragonite was still there. Sorry, I forgot about that. Yeah, them swapping out and locking in their Alolan Marowak there might have been a bit of an issue, but as you can see, we're going to finish off this set strong with a 5-0, and this set is the one that would have put me on to the... Well, I think I actually lost a 2-3 set afterwards the next day right before the leaderboards were updated, but this got me to 49th on the leaderboard. So successful team. I'll probably switch it up again just to have some fun, and then put back on the try hard pants for Catch Cup, because it seems like the leaderboards are expanding at a rate right now that it doesn't really matter what happens in Kanto Cup. But yeah, as always, if you guys like these type of teams, drop or hit that subscribe button. I'd greatly appreciate it, and I also put links to my Patreon if you guys would like to support me, or my Discord if you guys just want to come hang out in the description as usual. And as always, guys, thanks for watching.